South Carolina Military Department, Columbia, South Carolina, from Commander, Order Number 43-4, South Carolina State Guard, to Lieutenant Colonel Charles E. Forgason, Jr., effective 17 August 2024 at 1100. You will stand relieved of duties as commanding officer and will transfer to the medical detachment of the Professional Services Command for further assignment. You and Corrine may be justly proud of the accomplishments of the 3rd Battalion under your leadership. Given under my hand at Columbia, South Carolina, this 5th day of August 2024, signed Leon Lott, Major General, Commander, South Carolina State Guard. South Carolina Military Department, Columbia, South Carolina, from Commander, South Carolina State Guard, Order Number 43-5, to Major Dwayne T. Sheridan, effective 17 August 2024 at 1100. You will stand relieved of duties as Executive Officer and will assume command of the 3rd Battalion, 1st Civil Support Brigade. I wish you and Angel every success in your next assignment. Given under my hand at Columbia, South Carolina, this 10th day of August 2024, signed Leon Lott, Major General Commander, South Carolina State Guard.
Command Soldier Major, deliver the guidon to the Battalion Commander.
Today, the reviewing officer is the commander of the 1st Civil Support Brigade, Colonel Glenn Remsen of Columbia, South Carolina.
Sir, the Staff NCO of the 3rd Battalion instructed me to convey to you, job well done, sir.
The outgoing commander will now pass the unit's guidon to the incoming commander. The guidon represents not only the heritage and history of the unit, but also the unity and loyalty of its soldiers. The guidon is the commander's symbol of authority. The custodian of the guidon is the command sergeant major. As the senior enlisted soldier in the unit, the principal advisor to the commander. The turnover begins as Command Sergeant Major Deedle passes the guidon to the outgoing commander for the last time. Lieutenant Colonel Forgason passes the guidon to the brigade commander, Colonel Remsen, thereby relinquishing his responsibilities and authority. Colonel Remsen passes the guidon to the incoming commander, Major Sheridan, charging the new commander with the same responsibility and authority. After passing the guidon back to the Command Sergeant Major, the outgoing and incoming commanders exchange positions, indicating Major Sheridan is now in charge of the 3rd Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the South Carolina State Guard, Major General Leon Lott.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Great to see everybody here, family and friends and supporters of this change of command. Those wearing the uniform, thank you. It's an honor to serve with each and every one of you. As a leader, a key to success is to surround yourself with great people, other leaders that you depend on, that are reliable, that you know you get the job done. You just give them the mission and get the heck out of the way. Colonel Forgason has been that way. He has been someone that I, as a commander, has relied on, that I knew everything was in good hands, in his hands. And he's demonstrated that, and I think you see that today in the family and friends that are here, supporters are here, just how much you are admired here and how much everybody appreciates the leadership that you've demonstrated as a commander here. I thank you personally. You're one that you just made it happen. Didn't complain. You looked at challenges as opportunities and you moved forward. And you led these men and women to be the best that they can be. So, we all thank you for what you've done. You're changing command today, but you're not leaving us, which is great, and that puts a smile on everybody's face. governor appreciates, again, for those that don't know, the governor's one of our biggest supporters. He loves the State Guard, and he found out about the ceremony we had today, so he asked me to read a letter. Dear friends, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the South Carolina State Guard, 3rd Battalion, 1st Civil Support Brigade Change of Command Ceremony, honoring Lieutenant Colonel Charles E. Forgason and Major Dwayne T. Sheridan. I would like to express my deep appreciation to Lieutenant Colonel Forgason for his dedicated service to the people of South Carolina and to the Palmetto State. As the outgoing commander, he has earned our respect and gratitude through his commitment to support and protect our citizens and property in times of need, especially during the Cooper River Bridge Run. Having also served in the South Carolina Army National Guard for 20 years in many prominent leadership positions, he sets a high standard in the choice of service before self. It is a privilege to extend my sincere congratulations to Major Sheridan as he assumes command of the 3rd Battalion, 1st Civil Support Brigade, South Carolina State Guard. Major Sheridan brings over 21 years of service in the United States Navy. He has held several leadership positions in the battalion and has provided humanitarian assistance and significant support to South Carolinians during extreme emergencies in recent years. He will undoubtedly perform his duties with honor and distinction. Peggy and I thank Lieutenant Colonel Forgason and Major Sheridan for their service in the historic South Carolina State Guard, and we wish them the best going forward. Yours very truly, Henry McMaster. That is our Commander-in-Chief. That is from him. That is not somebody who just wrote that for him to sign. That is his words on how he feels about you and what you've done. Major Sheridan, I have all the confidence in the world that you're going to follow in the same footsteps, and there will be no change. You will lead forward, and we will continue to have the best because y'all are the best. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause, please. And Butch, I have my coin of excellence that I want to present to you because this is something that you've really earned.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Commander of the South Carolina State Guard, Brigadier General William Hollingsworth.
Hello, everyone. I bring you greetings from the Emerald City. If some of you are native South Carolinians, you should know that the Emerald City is Greenwood, South Carolina. It's not on a direct road to anywhere in the state, so it took 3 hours to drive down here, but it's worth it. Lieutenant Colonel Butch Forgason, my hat is off to you, sir. You have been in command since January of 2016. That is quite a command tenure, ladies and gentlemen. That is 8 years. To give you an idea of how long a row to hoe that was for Colonel Forgason, if you were on active duty, you seldom are in command of any given unit for longer than 3 years. Under trying circumstances, it may be 4. But to be in command of a unit for 8 years, just in and of itself, is extraordinary and shows a great amount of perseverance and endurance. Your performance, as General Lott said earlier, during such events as the Bridge Run and Wreaths Across America in honor of our deceased veterans, showing them honors, has been par excellence. So thank you very much, Butch, for everything that you've done. It's much appreciated. Now, we have a new commander. That's Dwayne Sheridan. I've had a chance to meet Major Sheridan on several occasions. I'm sure that he will acquit himself well. I have counseled him on the need to do well in South Carolina. Some of you that know some history about the late Great War will appreciate the fact that if you have the name Sheridan, you have to prove yourself in the South. There was only one other character who probably had, and that we won't go there. So anyway, I see where you were a Navy corpsman for your career in the Navy. That is, and which means that if you were a Navy corpsman, you were in support of the Marines. That in of itself is salutary, given the fact that you had to deal with the leathernecks, which we all love, but still. We have some here, yes, and so we love them, but it can be tough. And then I noticed in your bio that you've been in the State Guard since 2013. That's the same year that I became a member of the State Guard, so we've got that in common. But I want to welcome you to the command. I know that you will do well. I can tell by the esprit de corps that is shown here by your soldiers and the way they've conducted themselves that you have an outstanding unit, and I wish you all the success in the world. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Brigade Commander, Colonel Glenn Remsen.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today for this very special occasion. It's a day of change, and when change happens, there's always mixed emotions. There's a sadness to see somebody who has brought this unit, the 3rd Battalion in the South Carolina State Guard, to the place that it is today, moving on to a new position. But there's also, it's a time of excitement to see what Major Sheridan is going to bring to the table as the commander of 3rd Battalion. Colonel Forgason and I go way back. About 14 years ago, we met in the parking lot back there during a personal appearance inspection. I was a major, he was a captain. And look at what you've done since then. The accomplishment that you have achieved since then, when there were like 15 people standing out there and we're trying to figure out what our mission would be. And this is a man. I watch my commanders, I watch my personnel. Colonel Forgason is a dedicated individual. He's loyal and he's steady. He's just like a bulldozer. He just does it, and when he does it, he makes it look very, very easy. You remember the first couple Cooper River Bridge runs where it was a few people, and every year now when it's the entire State Guard, he makes it look effortless. So thank you for what you've done in bringing this organization forward. You can leave today knowing that you have made a difference in the people's lives that are out there wearing this uniform, and have made a difference in the lives of the people of the state of South Carolina in keeping them secure. Major Sheridan, I look forward to what Major Sheridan is going to do. This man is a very humble man. He's a man of faith, hope, and optimism. And that's what I see coming to the 3rd Battalion. It's going to be a great complement to what's been established. I mean, Colonel Forgason has laid the foundation, and now I'm charging you to continue to build upon that foundation in what's to come. And I'm really excited about this because we take a look at the challenges that we have as a state, as a country. The right leaders are being put in place at the right time. And you've been put in this spot for a time such as this. This is your time, and you were at the time that it was for you. Colonel, thank you. Thank you for your service, Colonel Forgason. I look forward to seeing you around in the Medical Services Detachment. And Major Sheridan, I'm looking forward to working with you as the Brigade Commander. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Forgason.
Whoa, thank you. As we're saying here, it's a little bit bittersweet. You know, I've been doing this so long, But it's really all about you. You've been there to help me, to encourage me to do everything I asked. You know how this thing works is we get the orders from above, and I kind of look around and say, how are we going to handle that? And then I start talking to Dwayne and Joe and right on down the line, Dick Enscore, trying to figure it out. And we get a little information, and then we forge ahead. But as I was going to start to say, remembering things, it's all in your perception. And Colonel Remsen was talking about how we met. And actually, I recall it as being in the drill hall here, actually. And he said he was a major. To me, he seemed like kind of a cocky first lieutenant. Because it was my first time down here, and they had us lined up, and we didn't know what to expect. And they said, we're going to do an in-ranks inspection. So we lined up, and it was us from A Company in Myrtle Beach, and there was a Marine on the end, Captain Wendelkin, tall Marine. Then next to me was a little short Sergeant Major Art Barham, and then I was next. And as Colonel Remsen at the time, whatever he was at the time, was coming through. He was kind of, from the Citadel, he was kind of ripping everybody pretty good all the way through. Nobody was right. And again, like you said, he got to the Marine, Wendelkin, and he was always squared away. So he passed right on by him. He got to the little Sergeant Major next to me from New Jersey, a little Jewish guy, and he looked at him and told him he looked like his uniform had come out of a sea bag. So that kind of brought him down. And when he got to me, he kind of looked around at my head, and he said, are you a country singer? I said, sir? He said, well, that hair of yours looks like a mullet. And then when he walked on, the Sergeant Major leaned over to me and said, what's a mullet? So, but the other thing, General Lott, I was going to say was when I came down here the first time, Third was a brigade, and the commanding officer was a brigadier general. So, naive me, I kept going to the mailbox waiting for that promotion order to come my way that never came. So we just had to march on. But it's really been a great stay. Everybody was just there to do their job and trying to do it the best of their ability. The amazing talent and from the service, from their individual personal lives that they bring to this is just amazing. That's all I can say. I was looking back through, and we'd actually played a major role in at least four major hurricanes. One tornado, one National Guard National Saugus Convention there in Myrtle Beach, which was for all the states, and believe me, that was a big deal. Of course, we did at least 8 Cooper River Bridge runs that have gone from one time it was 45,000 people on down to about 21 during COVID, back up. And each time it gets a little bit better, but it's not me, it's the groups. I mean, there's a lot of institutional knowledge that we've been doing it so people understand it and can pass it down. Chief Shear, the Charlie Company, they take care of the bridge, so they know exactly what's going on. They've even been able to work it out with the Charleston Police Department, the EOC, as to how we number the lamp posts so that if there are emergencies, how to go to them. It's been great. And then even during COVID, it was amazing. That was one of our probably longest deployments. And when I say that, we were assisting doing food banks and pods where we gave out food, and they were all over the state. And there were people just taking taking time off from their work to go everywhere. And they did it with great dedication and great honor. And I was thinking back about 2 or 3 things that I'm proudest of, and things that came out, because you truly are making a difference. You may not think so, but when these things occur, people recognize it and understand it. And I mean, kind of things that come up to, you've got the heart of a volunteer, I'd always heard, and you truly do. Things that stand out in my mind were, well, and Colonel Muse is over here, and when we all went through Joaquin up in Columbia, you know, I never used to pay attention when that little weather alert went off and said there's a flood warning in your area. Well, when you're in Olympia Armory downtown Columbia, and they say the bridge is going to fail behind you, and if the buzzer goes off, you've got about 5 minutes to get to the top of the hill before the water's on you. So I slept in the car that night, but you pay attention. But after that, General Mulligan, you know, as it flows, he said we need to have water search and rescue teams in Third Battalion. So Colonel Muse got the order. He called Butch Smith. Butch Smith called me and said, General wants you to have the 3rd Battalion have a water SAR team. I said, okay. You know, is there any outline or, no, we got to make it up from here, go ahead. So we went ahead and put it together. And you rose to the occasion. By the time we were through, we had taken all the FEMA courses, all the South Carolina Fire Academy courses, that we had over 50 individuals in the battalion rated as SAR water operators at an operation division level, which was unbelievable. Every time we've been asked, you've been able to step up and do it. One of the other things that stands out in my mind is during these hurricanes, we keep saying we're the first boots on the ground, and it's truly the case. Because it takes a while to get the National Guard called up and done and motivated. And I remember one of the hurricanes was Matthew, and Adam Kennedy back there. He was the LNO. He was the liaison officer. My wife hates it when we use all these acronyms, like AO. You know, we have 16 counties we take care of, but it means area of operation. Well, he was the liaison officer in Dillon. And believe me, he was there for 3 days before the FEMA incident team got there. And had he not been there to literally handle everything with the Dillon County emergency manager, who was, you know, he wasn't up to speed on a lot of this stuff, but had Adam not been there to do it, a lot of citizens would have lost their lives. We did a lot during that. We did a lot in the coming storms there the water came in. We usually think of the hurricanes, the wind coming in being a problem. Now it's a case we have to worry about the water coming back and flooding everybody out. So it is a big deal, and we try and take care of that. The other thing that really stood out in my mind was, it was actually, I think it was during Hurricane Dorian. And this is part of one of the running jokes that Colonel Cox and I have going, is that all of a sudden I started getting these phone calls. You know, I got this phone call at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to wake family, so I grabbed my phone and ran out on the back patio, and he's calling me, telling me, hey, look, all of a sudden we just found out that the State Guard has been written into the state hurricane plan, so when the governor signs the state of emergency, we're on it, you know, we've got 50 people we're supposed to provide. And he could evidently hear the palm trees kind of blowing in the back, and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm standing out on my back patio in my boxer shorts." And he said, "Oh, that's funny, I'm on my patio in my pajama bottoms." And so at his last dining in, I presented him with a pair of boxer shorts, camo boxer shorts, and then I had a pair, so that I said, next time we get called up, we got matching uniforms. So you may see that. I think they're going to try and do the slideshow, and it may be on there. But the thing that made me so excited was, I called down to Charlie Company, because we had never done that before. But they said, "Hey, you're going to be involved when the 151st Signal Battalion comes down with the National Guard. When they get there, you're going to be embedded with them, and you have to help take care of lane reversals. If the storm gets bad, you're going to have to wind up doing high water rescues with them on their equipment." And I was on calls with them for a week ahead of this, and they were a day late getting there, and Chief Shearer and all the C Company were sitting there waiting on them, and they had their food and actually were giving them cots so they'd have a place to stay. And that really worked well. So now we're starting to get that, working with the National Guard, they start to understand what we can do and what we can offer. We're no longer just meeting once a month and drinking coffee. We're training and being ready. And so, Chief, some of the training they do is amazing. They came up with a forklift training plan and a shelter training plan, and we're sharing this and doing this all over. But when they go into the shelters, it's amazing how people react to us in uniform, and the people that go in and help and the things they have to do. So it's an important job. And like I was saying, the last thing was COVID. We did a lot during COVID. It was just amazing to me that we're what we call task organized. And I'm saying this because when we get a mission, it's not necessary. We pull the best people together we can to do the mission and go do it. And the thing that impressed me during COVID, I think it was down here at MUSC, they had called and said, "Hey, things are going to get bad. We're going to have to use the gymnasium, physical fitness center, for a field hospital." And I know Colonel Preston came down, and I think it was Colonel Williams, and we had all of a sudden 10 or 15 people that came in there, and they said this is going to take 3 to 4 days. Well, it took just over a day and a half, and they had completely converted it. It was amazing. So it's been great. Lastly, I just want to say to, it's not me, it's my staff and the people around me. I've got great company commanders in Captain Kidman, Chief Shear, Captain Lieutenant Williams, and then my staff, my work wife, Joe Markey, his little brother, John Markey, Sergeant Markey, right on down, Captain Hoffman, Captain Johnson, Captain Inscore, got great knowledge and to pass on and he helps us with everything. And then of course Kangaroo, Major Jansen's back there that keeps us straight, and he's in charge of all the dining outs. He's got the secret. But you can see all over the Guard, there are people that have come from 3rd Battalion and moved up, and they're good people, and we want to keep them going that way. Just like Joe Goldsmith back here. The other part of this was, we've been through some trials and tribulations One of the things my wife used to say every time I put on the uniform to go out, she said, "I wish you were getting paid for that rank." And my mother always told me, "Be careful what you wish for." So when they said, "Oh, they're going to pay you," we said, "Oh, great, that sounds like a fantastic plan." Well, it's been a little bit tougher than we thought, but we're getting through it. It's working out well. The thing it tells me, because it tells me that now the governor, and Cody Simpson back here is our government liaison. It tells me that the governor's behind us. It also tells me the legislature is starting to understand what we do. They've increased our tax write-off, and we're starting to make it through the budget process. General Lott has been able to get enough money out of the legislature to really redo the Olympia Armory, so that's a major deal for us to have our headquarters. So we're making progress all the way along. We just want to keep it going. I'm excited that I'm gonna stay close to Third, because I'm going to be the medical detachment commander for coastal medical, which all that means is the medical guys, the EMTs, docs, and nurses that are going to be embedded in each one of the companies. I'm just going to try and help take care of them from standpoint of pay and promotions. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I was scared when General Lott and General Hollingsworth answered so quickly to my invitation that I was afraid maybe I should have put on there that I was sticking around and going to medical, and maybe they thought I was getting out and they were, going to tell me adios and, leave the grounds quickly, But again, I'm just pleased to stick around and help and stay involved with this great crew. And next, the last thing is Dwayne Sheridan, Major Sheridan. You couldn't have a better commander coming in. I don't know anybody that's got a bigger love for Third and the individuals. And I mean, I take counsel from him. I always ask him, "What do you think, Dwayne?" Because he's got more insight into what's going on. I've been fortunate. I've had two great XOs in Lieutenant Colonel Preston there and Dwayne. Both of them are way smarter than I am, and they've helped me through it, helped me look good here even when I didn't know what I was doing. So I think you're in good hands. I appreciate everybody coming, my family, Dwayne's family, Colonel, everything. Everybody's come. I appreciate the thought and your presence here today. Thank you very much.
Major, will you help me with this?
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Forgason is receiving a plaque bearing the retired colors of the former 4th Battalion, 3rd Brigade, South Carolina State Defense Force. This flag was carried into parades into the aftermath of hurricanes and other events and missions. The emblem in the center contains an image dominated by a tall palmetto tree and an oak tree, fallen and broken. The scene represents the battle fought on 28 June 1776 between the South Carolinian defenders of the unfinished fort on Sullivan's Island and the British naval blockade and expeditionary fleet. The former South Carolina motto, Meliorem lapsa locavit, meaning, having fallen, she has set up a better one, is a shining example of Lieutenant Colonel Forgason's leadership. As South Carolina transitioned from state defense forces to the South Carolina State Guard, the units in the coastal region transitioned into the 3rd Battalion mustered here today. Sir, you have taken those remnants of the state defense forces and set up a better one. We thank you, sir. The plaque reads, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Butch Forgason, Commanding Officer, 3rd Battalion, 1st Civil Support Brigade, South Carolina State Guard, from 1 January 2016 to 17 August 2024. I would like to take this moment to introduce today's guests, which include Major General Leon Lott, Commander of the South Carolina State Guard, Brigadier General William Hollingsworth, Deputy Commander of South Carolina State Guard, Sergeant Major Carl De La Guerra, Command Sergeant Major of the South Carolina State Guard, retired Colonel Charles Muse, former Commander of the 1st Civil Support Brigade, retired Colonel Jerry Cummin, former Commander of the 1st Civil Support Brigade, Colonel Carl Kynard, former Division Surgeon, Colonel Doug Selby, current Division Surgeon, Colonel Linda Warren, the G4 officer, Colonel Glenn Remsen, Commander, 1st Civil Support Brigade, Colonel Chris Cox, Liaison Officer to the South Carolina Army National Guard, Colonel Donald Hayes, Chaplain Emeritus. Ladies and gentlemen, the incoming Commander, Major Dwayne Sheridan.
Now that we got all the thank yous, thank you, General. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. I can't tell you how much me and Colonel Ferguson just really appreciate you guys coming out and showing out in force. You do every time we have a situation. You do every time South Carolina calls. Every time our governor calls, you answer it, and thank you so much. I'd like to just really give, honors to Colonel Forgason for driving this ship for 8 years. From 2016 to 2024, he has weathered the storm. He has taken this boat through a lot of issues, but he has brought it through safely, and he's brought you guys through the mission safely and trained and ready. I got some big shoes to fill from him. I have learned a lot from him. Every leader, if you're not learning, you're not a leader. And I have learned so much from him. He has set the mark high. I heard a song, a Christian song, about a month or two ago, and the song title was Made for More. It's a powerful statement, but when it kind of resonated in my soul, and I asked myself, my Creator made me for more. Am I doing what He made me for? So let me just tell you what our Creator has made us for. How about the person who needs food, is hungry, has just been put out on the street from the storm? How about the person that doesn't have a house, just lost it in a flood, tornado, hurricane, has no place to stay, has to provide for his family? How about the person that's wondering, when everything's going south, they have no safety and security. They fear for their life. Our Creator has basically summed it all up in one thing. Our life is to be a life of service to others. Well, let me tell you what. I don't know if you were listening, but what I was saying kind of falls along the South Carolina State Guard Medal, which means Mission Essential Task List. If you look at the pod missions that we do as point of distribution, what do? We feed the people who need food, that are hungry. If you look at our shelter missions, what do? We shelter those that don't have a home, that need a place for safe homage. The people that are fearing for their life, we walk in there and they see our uniform and they feel safe. Most of all, if our governor calls for any situation, he'll throw it our way and we'll figure it out. And that'll be on our next training for the next year. That's part of our mission set. Our mission set's constantly changing, just like the times is constantly changing. We will change and we will be trained and ready. I want you to sit there and look at yourself and say, I'm made for more. Am I stepping up, doing what my Creator created me for? And if you don't have an answer to that question, I want you to just do one thing real quick. Look down. That uniform you're wearing right now tells you you are answering the call. You are probably the 1% of people that are stepping up and stepping out. You know, when most people are worried about self-centered things, you're putting on that uniform. Most people are having fun today, but you're here. You are serving others in this uniform. And let me tell you, I was on a mission in Africa one time. My guys were on the top of the embassy keeping heads down. But what I took back from that was the natives there, they believed that they had any article of clothing from the soldier, it made them invincible. If they had the boots, they could run and they could fly. If they had the blouse or the pants, they were bulletproof. You know, I laughed at that. I don't laugh at it anymore because the person that comes up to you and it is in need for them or their family, you are a superhero. You are going to walk on water. Not literally, but to that person, you will be walking on water. I just want to stress how important your role in the State Guard is and why you're here. You know, there's no greater honor than to serve with a volunteer. Because like I've always said, I'll tell a volunteer to take out the trash. They do it with joy and come back and say, what do you want me to do next? I tell somebody on the paid side to do it, they grunt, grumble, and groan. But like Colonel Forgason said, not only do you do it, but you do it faster, better, and more efficient. You are really making our counterparts wake up, take notice. Hey, these guys are serious. But what they fail to see is we're older, we're smarter, we're retired. I was always taught as a Navy chief, learn by your experienced people. Well, we're experienced people. We can do the job if it's given our way. So again, I task you, Colonel Ferguson has set the bar high. And I know he wants us to keep it high, but not only keep it high, he wants us to strive to keep making it higher each year. So I am tasking you and asking you to sit there, stand up, step out, and answer the call like you've done so many times before. I appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. And thank you for coming to this ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction and the playing of the Army Marching Song. The words to this song are printed on the back cover of your program.
Benediction.
Ladies and gentlemen, General Lott, General Hollingsworth, family, friends, and special guests, we thank you for being here. We have already invoked the Holy Spirit to be here because the Word of God says that wherever two or three are gathered, you are here with us. We're grateful that we serve in uniform that still respects the higher authority. That's being you, God. For it's from you that we receive all our strength and our power. And this, as the State Guard moves forward in uniform, we only are able to do so inasmuch as we have you as our force multiplier. Yesterday I gave a military funeral and received an epiphany I want to share with you very quickly, and this is why. One of my veterans told me about a man going in to save a child who was in a fire. The child survived and he died. Not long ago in Myrtle Beach, a man went out to save a drowning person. The person survived, but the one who went out to save him died. I know that there's a man that died on the cross, and he did so to save me and all of us so that we would have life. It's that same kind of commitment that we have in the South Carolina State Guard. This is an old institution, and we serve proudly and bravely. And although we are in the midst of the storms, and yes, we are, for we are in good times and bad times, this is some of the best times that I can imagine. I'm so grateful that we're alive to tell about these times. But there's some hard times coming, and that's why we will always follow the mission and be prepared. For the South Carolina State Guard will always be prepared for whatever mission comes our way, and we will be able to do so exceedingly well because of the power that's within us, that power from above. I know that power will continue, and I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Butch Forgason for his service. We've battled many battles together, and I want to compliment Major Sheridan for the words he said to me on the way in. He says, "Have you prayed us up?" I said, "Major, we are prayed up. We will always be ready." And I say this for this reason. Also on my way in, I was speaking to a corporal, and his 11-year-old son is in ICU and getting ready to undertake open heart surgery. And yet that corporal is here with us today. We sacrifice to do the work we're called to do, but the State Guard is always ready to fulfill our duties. So now, as I pray in my tradition, I ask you to pray in yours. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day as we continue the long-held tradition of change of command ceremonies, where we come to see a replacement of one commander and a new commander coming on board. We are thankful for the service and the dedication and the love and support that Butch Forgason has given us and his men and women all these wonderful years. And we know that you have brought up another man, Major Sheridan, who will be able to fill those shoes and take us to the next level. We ask that you continue to bless our commanders, General Lott and General Hollingsworth, that they continue to lead the State Guard, for we know that greater days are ahead. We are excited to be a part of this extraordinary organization, and we ask you to always be with us in thought, word, and deed, that everything we do to honor you. And finally, we thank you, Lord, as this ceremony comes to a close, that we had the opportunity to see this change of command and the passing of the colors, and we did it all for you. To your honor and glory, we pray. Amen.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off and cane is loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Sir, ready to conclude? Yes, sir. Company clear. Carry out the plan of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, This concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of all the soldiers present, I thank you for your attendance and continued support of the South Carolina State Guard. Lunch is now available. Will the invited guests of Lieutenant Colonel Forgason proceed to the chow line, followed by the guests of Major Sheridan? The commanding general and his guests will be served next, followed by the training staff and the working parties of our afternoon events. 3rd Battalion HHC and Brigade, please remain in place. All other soldiers will then line up in rank order. Thank you and enjoy the afternoon.